First off, I'll just welcome you ladies here. Thanks a lot for being a part of this roundtable. I'll have you introduce yourselves in a second, but I appreciate the opportunity anytime I possibly can to share stories of education because I think what you're doing is transformative. It's always been transformative since the beginning of time. Everyone got here because we were educated. Uh, but I think now more than ever, it really is dynamic. It's innovative. It's got to be creative. It's got to be responsive. It's got to be frugal. Education has to be a lot more than education today. And I think it's good to share some of the examples where teachers, principals, administrators, parents, a variety of people, sometimes communities, are working together to make sure it really is all about the kids. So that's a very long introduction, but Melissa, I'm going to jump to you first.
Sure.
Tell me a
Thanks.
little bit about your role and Dr. Alany's and Portage.
Absolutely. So, thank you so much for having me on today. My name is Melissa Deavers. I am the Director of Communications and Community Engagement over at Portage Township School Corporation. And I serve under Dr. Amanda Alanis, Superintendent of Schools. And when you talk about students and teachers and all of our staff working together to find innovative ways to educate kids, she's one of the leaders in that for sure.
And it has been for quite some time. I mean, a leader actually bringing you in from a communication standpoint as you were doing this kind of thing at the high school. That's where I first met you, where you were teaching kids to do media better than media was doing media. So
Thank you so
it's,
much.
I've watched it for a while.
It's been an awesome journey.
Stacey, you and I were touching on right before we started the show that a year or two or somewhere in a recent, maybe past, we connected back up in my garage when we were starting the company. So it's awesome to see how you've flourished and now being there as long as you have, how that district has flourished. And it's really the same principles I remember you talking about in that room a couple of years ago.
Yes, just a couple years ago. That's right. Yeah, my name's Stacey Schmidt. I'm the superintendent of Portage Township School Corporation. It's funny how you've got two with such close names. um, and I've been here at Portage Township since 2012, and it's been a fun journey to watch as the district's grown and evolved over this time as we really work to meet every student's needs every day and watch their journey. I just had my first group of kindergartners walk across the stage. So cool for me to see those kids grow up and graduate. So just this hallmark moment for me as I watch those kids make it across the stage and achieve that final goal of graduation.
I take to heart the graduation things because obviously that's very near and dear to us. We did 53 of them this year across 5 counties. I only did 2 of them, but I love doing the 2 of them. I did Westville and Chesterton just based on where they needed me. But I love doing those every single year just because when does the community, the kids, the parents, the family of the parents, and everybody else come out to just say, wow, we just produced another crop of great kids that are going to go on and do cool stuff. And from an educator's perspective, we just spent the last 12 plus years of our lives trying to mold this person along with the parents and the community into these great, fabulous human beings that are going to go out and do awesome things. And it's almost like the whole town comes together to have a parade for these kids that just got smart and they're productive human beings. They're launching them into the next stage of your life. And I look at it as, God dang, this is about the most fun thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, it's the celebration of the village coming together, everybody playing their role and their part, having worked together for this culminating event, and now launching out to be a member of society. It's this amazing moment.
Yeah. And it's fun. Like I obviously love them if my kids were involved, but then you just love them because some kids involved, and you watch the interaction where grandma gets to see the young guy that, you know, she's only got 2 years to go, but she sees her grandson graduate, or the family that's together from out of town. And these are massive moments for family. And I'm a good news person, and you're like, man, this is the greatest event ever. Like, there's so much good all happening in one place.
I agree. And I do love how they've become full community events. And a couple of years ago, I even ran into some friends of mine who run a daycare in Portage, and they were telling me that they come every year because for them, you know, they really had that very first intro to education, you know, those preschool classes. And so they come every year just to continue to see those kids grow up and be successful and start that next step. It's amazing.
That's
And it
awesome.
really is, it's that ownership, like you're talking about, like even from the preschool age, like, you know, for our bus drivers, you know, that those are the first faces they're seeing every morning as they get on the bus, and they're setting the tone for the day. And often the last face they're seeing from the school side, you know, and kind of wrapping up the day, you know, like everybody's celebrating, you know, it's teachers, administrators, yes, but it's the bus drivers, the preschool teachers, you know, it's
Yeah.
the whole
The
community.
lunch team, the security people, the athletic
Custodians.
people, the guys that are in the guidance office, the school nurse. It's all these people that they go every single day to care for our kids.
Yep.
And my daughter's a teacher, a fifth grade teacher up in Illinois. She's just a fabulous teacher. And I know what she goes through every single day. And I just think, man, those kids are really, really lucky, because she is like a dynamo. She's just fabulous. And she pours her heart into those kids every single day. And you're thinking, God dang, there's 25 or 30 of them.
Mhm.
That's like that person getting really great coaching. And every day we send kids to school, and they get coached and taught and counseled and directed and guided and supported and encouraged and, you know, listened to. And you're thinking, man, it's amazing. So I appreciate what everybody does in all of those aspects, but the graduation part is particularly exciting. Tell me a little bit about something. I think the public is always interested. Where is education going, and what's the future of education, or what are we doing different now than what we were doing before? Where's education innovating? Um, think about something that a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago that the district or individual parts of it weren't doing, that is a great example of, no, we had to innovate. We needed to do this and move away from that and move towards this, or collaborate in a different way. Where do you feel like your district is saying, no, we're pushing the edge of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk about that community involvement, right? And we talk about that, you know, with the graduation ceremony, and the business world within our community, I think, has become increasingly involved in our schools. We're seeing that now with some of the new diploma changes, where, you know, they want our kids out in the community, and so now we're starting to see even more of that come into play. So I'll bring up the Portage Economic Development Corporation and the partnership that we have with them with our 360 programs.
Yeah.
So we have Healthcare 360, Manufacturing 360, and then last year we added in Construction 360 as well with the Construction Advancement Foundation. And those are all programs that are STEM-based, and they're supported through vocational programs that we have embedded throughout the county and throughout our school. And then also the Project Lead the Way program that we've had. That's something that we've had for a number of years. I think that, you know, we kind of saw things heading in this direction a long time ago. And now it's become, you know, more important than ever. So those Project Lead the Way classes really start the kids thinking about careers in those different fields. And then the community comes in and says, you know, here's our need. Here's what we have available to kids in Portage and in Northwest Indiana. And here are some ways that they can get jobs right here in Northwest Indiana. They can get the training and then prepare for it. I would say in the last couple of years, something that we've done a little bit different is our Lavenda Learning Lab, as we call the L3 Lab.
Okay.
This is a place where we bring elementary students in for what we call an intra-district field trip. And so every student will come from K through 5, they'll come 4 times a year. And we have a dedicated teacher and assistant in that room who will do STEM-based activities with the student. So one day they might be learning about the life cycle of water, and they use recycled water bottles and put rocks in it and show how erosion happens by running, water through the water bottle. And my daughter, who is 7 years old, going into 2nd grade at Portage for next year, she was really excited because she got to do some coding activities where she got to program a ballerina to dance on a laptop, and she was very excited about that.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're starting really prepping the kids for just, I think, critical thinking. So whether they're going into kind of a STEM-based program, or if they're going into something that's more arts-based or journalism, I'll do a shameless plug for that. They'll be
We're
prepared
hiring.
those really out-of-the-box critical thinkers.
Yeah, I know I've watched at the Portage program, and all of Porter County really has a great program at the Career Center, but as well as at the individual high schools. And our Life in the Spotlight series was born out of 2 high school journalists, which are the first 2 we hired in Portage, Brandon Vickery and Colin Zilli, and that whole entire program was just born out of, God, these kids are really, really smart. We want to have them write about stuff. What could they do? And then we come up with a series, and now we do it all over the place. But that's, really because the school was leading local sort of news, information, video. You had a radio station, you had a TV station, you had a newspaper, you had the website. And that was 12 years ago, 14 years ago, maybe. And me in the business orientation of the media space was like, man, we're trying to compete with existing media, but the high schools are trouncing us all. Like they're because they've got the awareness of all the digital tools, they've got the ability, they got time on their hands, but they got developed in those programs. And now look at Brandon. He's media relations director or sports media director for the university. He learned to do that in high school.
Yeah, definitely got that inspiration, at least, I think, to start doing that. And when I talk about all of those programs, I think that's what it's about. It's about inspiring and showing the kids that this is what's available to you, but also importantly showing them that they can do this, right? And they can, they can learn, and they can succeed, and they can do really great things that are going to make them happy.
And they can learn things that they don't want to do prior to going to college and spending a whole ton of money to figure out that that's not what they want to do. Right. I went to college, and they said, well, it's because you haven't taken a lot of math stuff like calculus. It's going to take you about a year longer. So it's probably not going to work out to get a business degree. And you could do a communications thing and take some business class. And I said, I'm a communications major. That's always what I wanted to do. But it just was, I don't want to spend another year in school. I want to get out, but I want to learn those kind of things. And again, why not kids have that learning when they're in high school than when they're spending a lot more expensive dollars. Stacey, what would you say? You've been there a dozen more years. You've probably watched multiple generations of innovation.
Yeah. And it's interesting to listen to the answer and resonate with some of the things that were being said. And it's funny to think about this and innovation and what's happening, especially in the day and age of AI. And, we've been through one-to-one and, kind of the focus on technology. But my answer is really around relationships and flexibility. Like, that's where I feel like we're moving to this personalized learning kind of environment where it's more tailored towards student interests, desires, passions, and finding what those things are, and then helping students develop their passions and interests, and doing those in a relational, personal way. Because I think in this world that we're moving into, where AI and those kinds of things are going to be such a big part of what we do, the ability to do what we're doing here, sit and have a conversation, talk about things that matter,
Look at each other. It's just like,
Mhm.
look at the other person.
Yes. Like these skills are going to matter. How we communicate with each other, how we interact, even when we disagree and share ideas, the ability to communicate is going to matter. And so when I think about the things that have happened over my time here at Porter Township, I see that focus towards personalized learning in what we're doing, even in our homework help, where we have the ability to know each kid personally, to see what's happening and to push them in what they're doing and missing in each class through our blended Wednesdays at the high school with juniors and seniors, where we're motivating kids to be passing classes and have all their work turned in, which affords them the opportunity then to make use of that blended Wednesday program. But then that frees up their schedule. So while they may be completing some coursework online, then they have also the opportunity, if there's some work-based learning, that they're out in the community doing some other activities as well. That's motivating and changing our culture a bit in innovative ways that we haven't before. But then even beyond the secondary level, we're seeing that in what we're doing in our elementary levels. With hands-on learning, experiential learning, they're making solar ovens to cook pizzas. They're, detectives and investigating the fairy tales that happen. Like they're doing these hands-on exploratory research in STEM areas and reading that are really helping them develop who they are as a learner, while also then exploring some other career options, so that it's not just as you're getting to high school, you're thinking, okay, what might I want to do? They're having these experiences much earlier and able to talk about them at an earlier level to be able to explore, okay, who am I? What am I good at? Where are my passion areas? That then later on might inform a bit more, hey, here's a direction I might want to go. And I
Yeah.
think those relational components are really ways that I see education changing.
Well, and I think it's more important than ever if we're going to be accessing a lot of things via digital tools. The personal engagement has got to be like absolutely locked in, whether it's at work or at school or in the public discourse. If all of our communication is only digital, that's not a good situation to have.
Mhm.
And if most of our communication is digital, it just means when we're in person, we better be paying attention to each other and really engaging and truly listening. Because if we're only going to do it 10% of the time, you better make that 10% of the time pretty darn good.
Mhm.
You get to watch probably sometimes 100 examples a day, but you get to watch tens and tens of thousands of examples of a good student doing a good thing, a good teacher doing a good thing, a good parent, a good administrator, athletic director, nurse, whatever the heck it is. What would you want to remind people that goes on in your schools every single day? Because sometimes what they hear or what they read is, oh, this thing happened. Oh my gosh, lack of any other information. It must all be like that. And I've been on like a gazillion sidelines or basketball courts or in gyms. And what I see all the time is like the 10,000 good things that are happening. And yeah, you're aware this kid's a goof nut or that happened, something that's not great. But the preponderance is just overwhelmingly positive. And tell me about some of those times where you see, that's why we're in education. They're right there. That's exactly why I do what we do, or my team does what we do.
There's just so much that goes on in our buildings that's just so good every single day. And we talk a lot about educating kids on the academics, but there's social development. And Stacey touched on this, and I thought it was such a good comment about building relationships and teaching kids how to build good relationships both with each other and with adults. We're almost kind of teaching them to network a little bit as kids.
Okay.
And so, they get older and they're able to, put value into that. But I know at Portage, we have our No Place for Hate initiative. So we have our 5 critical values. that we tell our kids, we want you to do this. We have lessons that are, no place for hate, turning our schools into places where it's just not something that we're going to, that we're not going to have in our buildings. And we have these lessons that show kids, this is why it's important. This is exactly what we want you to do. And so those are done pre-K through 12. And again, they go along with those critical values, things like honesty, respectfulness, responsibility, fairness, and compassion. Those are our 5.
Yep.
And what we ask our teachers to do, or anyone in the school to do, is to showcase to us, send me as the communications person pictures of the things that are going on. What are those stories that you see from the kids where they're demonstrating those critical values? And
awesome.
Yeah, and so that has become a lot of what I've been sharing with our community is showing how we're turning our kids into good citizens.
Yeah.
Our associate superintendent, Dr. Stevens, oftentimes uses the phrase that we are wanting to develop our kids so that they become really good neighbors, a neighbor you would be really proud to have and really happy to have. And through that No Place for Hate initiative and through those 5 critical values, that's how we're doing it.
Yeah. And I think we're ultimately all gearing our own kids or the community's kids just to be productive, responsible human beings, nice people. The kind of things I always view it as the kind of things everybody's mom told them in the 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was at school or at work or in a school board meeting or a city council meeting or in a group, Facebook online, if we just all behaved like our moms told us to in the 2nd grade, I'm pretty sure a lot of the world's issues would go away. And there are those 8 principles that you're talking about, but it's essentially just don't be a jerk, be nice to other people, be considerate, and don't hate. Like, just don't be mean.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Stacey, tell me a little bit about your experience, where you see those examples in action.
Yeah, and I can really, the best way I can tell you is through stories, like things I've seen out in the building. So I was at Porter Lakes, one of our elementary schools, and interestingly enough, we have 3 and 4-year-old preschool there as well. And we had a new preschooler who was arriving at school that day and wasn't quite sure that they were excited about being there, was having a little bit of trouble coming in. And one of our K through 3 students happened to notice this preschooler that was struggling being there. And the funny part was, it was a kid who doesn't always like coming. He came up to the preschooler and he told him how great Porter Lakes was. And he took him by the hand and walked him into the classroom and made sure that he had this great transition just all on his own, because this was what he took on himself to do out of care and compassion for this student and to help him make this transition, just on his own. It was great, what we would want adults to do, right? And
Bingo.
It was just this amazing connection. Yeah. And I was thinking at our middle school, our goal is to have all of our kids connected in some sort of activity, because we feel like if they're involved in sports and extracurriculars, that helps them in every aspect of their life. And so our teachers saw a group of kids that weren't connected into anything. So they volunteered and started this games club that was going to connect with a group of kids that didn't have a way to really fit in. And so connected these kids in and found meaningful ways to be involved. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And these are just kind ways. I was walking through the high school and, a student said, "Hey, Dr. Schmidt." And I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." And they said, "Hey, I just want to thank you for everything you do." And I'm like,
wow.
Practicing gratitude, one of our kids practicing gratitude, wow, this is amazing. We talk about gratitude all the time. And here's the kid modeling gratitude for us for no reason, didn't have to say anything. And I was blown away for the rest of the day. But, you see these in these little microcosms where our kids are showing these things that we need to remember as adults, about being grateful, about looking for the child who is struggling, that I might not have noticed had that kid not gone and helped him make it into his classroom. Our kids are looking for these ways to model and show kindness and the kinds of citizens we want them to be, just like you were talking about. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah. And we should just watch them. Like literally just watch the kids and do what they do. And not, obviously you guys are teachers. That's your job to teach them. But I think as a lot of parents, it's our job to teach them and mold them. But it's also our responsibility to pay attention to these kids and actually say, when do they have it way better than what I have it? And maybe I ought to learn something from them. And it's not just how to operate the remote or how to post to Facebook. It might be just how to be kind and not judgmental and not irritable and, notice when somebody just needs you to hold their hand and help them into school. And
Chris,
there's a lot adults can learn from kids.
Chris, if I could share a quick story along those lines. So Stacey had mentioned, the preschooler and then the elementary student, and it's such like setting an example, like you said, for how we want adults to be.
Yeah.
So we had a student, this was probably a couple of years ago, but she had received a positive behavior referral to the main office, which we do, because she had started a Popcorn Friday collection jar in the classroom. So students could bring in popcorn money, they could donate it. And then if somebody didn't have their popcorn money that day, for whatever reason, they could take a quarter out of the popcorn jar and they could make it so that everybody in the class could get one. So I happened to be at that school that day, heard the story, took a quick picture, put it on our district's Facebook page. And all of a sudden in our district's kind of like, for lack of a better term, catch-all email box, the PTS communications, I was getting tons of emails from adults saying, I want to contribute to the popcorn jar. Where should I send my donation? Where should I send my money? So the student, who's an elementary age student, set this beautiful example for community members and inspired adults to be part of the program and part of something bigger. And it's something as simple as popcorn, but it means a lot to the kids at that age. So
yeah, those kids are contributing a quarter or something, or a dime or a dollar, whatever the heck it is. But that then leads everybody to say, hey, well, what could I be doing? I'm a full-grown adult. I've got more capabilities. I should be able to do a lot.
Absolutely. It was really amazing.
That's awesome. When you think about the school community, a lot of people think about, well, it's the administrators, obviously, the principals at the school level. Then there's the individual academic teachers and their school nurse. To me, education is very much a village. Like, it's all of those people. But it's also lots of the moms, lots of the dads, lots of the volunteers, lots of the grandparents, lots of the people that are school crossing guards, lots of the people that are volunteers that help out in the lunchroom. Or, what's it like to be at this? I know it's challenging to do all of what you do. What's it like to be at the center of that much good, though? Because everybody that walks into a school, obviously outside of some horrible examples, everybody that walks inside of a school means well for those kids every single day. It's gotta be energizing, maybe exhausting, but it's gotta be energizing to be at the center of where kids are just growing every single day. You're essentially like in a green, if you like flowers, you're in this world's greatest greenhouse for growth.
It's incredible to watch, and the number of people that we have in our community who are so willing to reflect and look at what their own talents are, and like you said, their own capabilities and what they're able to bring to the table, and they're willing to come in and say, let me help you with this. What can we do? Sometimes that looks like our partners at the Exchange Club coming in to honor our school advisors every year for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Because they're oftentimes that kind of first contact or first notice, or doing lessons to help prevent those things. So they come in every year and they do some trainings, and they honor our school advisors for their role in that. I think it's the grandparents coming in for Grandparents' Day. That's one of my favorite times every year, because the kids are so excited to see their grandparents. They're pulling them down the hallway as fast as they can. To show them their work and do activities with them. Our Veterans Day programs, there's so much. One of the things that I noticed from going from the classroom over to the administration building you're in your classroom and you're so focused on what you're doing in your lessons and your kids. And when I moved to the administration building, I really got to see the whole machine in action. So you get to see the custodians, the bus drivers. We didn't have classroom assistants at the high school level, so I got to see that, at the elementary level and the massive role that they play. Our maintenance crew, our bus drivers, everybody that we have throughout the district, everybody has a role that if one of those breaks down in the machine, it just doesn't work. So it just takes, it's incredible to me the number of people that it takes both within our school district and outside of our school district to make it all work. It's inspiring and it's incredible.
It's sometimes when you think of the logistics of it, you don't wonder why didn't it work at that one particular moment in time? Mm-hmm. And you more wonder, how does it ever work at any moment in time? Because it mm-hmm. depends on so many variables. I mean, you have hundreds or thousands of kids coming and going every single day. What's not variable about hundreds or thousands of kids coming and going every day? I mean, mm-hmm. kids are variable. The very nature is variable. So I think it's amazing the number of things that have to happen to go right. Mm-hmm. Darn near every day, just work flawlessly.
Right. And then on top of it, not only are they making the school run as it should, but then, I think Stacey had mentioned earlier, the bus driver being that first person that they see every morning and they're giving them that smile or those encouraging words, and the custodian giving a high five or a fist bump in the hallway. So they're doing so much for every aspect of our kids, just really going above and beyond. And I love how dedicated they are to the kids in their buildings. It's really awesome.
That's true. And I think our parents as well, like our PTOs, mm-hmm. I can't think, they stock our teachers' lounges with treats and snacks and drinks. Oh, it's amazing how they go above and beyond. And even, my own kids go here. And so my boys are 10 now, but
wow.
When I remember
boys are 10.
I know. Well, they're 9.5, so I rounded up a little bit. We were out at a restaurant, and they were able to see their custodian, Miss Sybil, was out at the restaurant, and it was like, oh, there she is, she's there. It was.
He's
like
a real person.
Star, but it was like seeing a rock star out in the wild, not in school, and the importance of everybody in their lives, I think we underestimate sometimes the difference that all school workers make in the lives of kids. The stories that kids come and tell about something that happened in the line when they were getting lunch. The one little comment that changed their day when they may have been having a tough day, and just one little thing was said that totally changed the trajectory of their day. It is everybody making a difference in that, but you're right. It takes everybody working together that really makes the schoolhouse run.
Well, from my aspect of it, there's a lot of challenges that happen every single day. If I asked you, if I began the question with saying, how many days in your school year do you have 100 problems to deal with in a day? You might say, I don't know, most of them. But the fact of the matter is there's 100 problems. There's probably 1,000 positive moments. And you got to deal with every single challenge as it comes up. And there are a lot of variables, so you're going to have a lot of challenges. But as I like to think, the preponderance of people are good. Kids especially, oh my God, they're off the charts. Yeah. They're all good. And we haven't messed them up yet. And it's our job as parents and teachers to support all that good nature that's in them. They feel the right things. They're kind. They don't feel hate. They're not born and be like, oh my God. They might not be happy about one particular thing, but kids don't hate. And I think there's a lot that we can all learn from them. Anything else that you, as we sort of sum this up, anything else that you want to share about your district, your parents, your kids, your school system, or something else that tells the rest of the world around us that I'm not the only nutty guy, that kids are great, teachers are awesome, the school system is really sound, and you're learning on the fly every minute of the day, to do it a little bit better tomorrow than you did it today. That's what I see.
Absolutely. There's definitely like a level of responsiveness that comes along with educating kids and looking at your community, looking at your needs, and then looking at your kids and what they can do. And, and they can all do just amazing things, and they do amazing things every day. And just being responsive to that and saying, what new opportunities do we have? What is out in the community that we can be taking advantage of, and getting our kids out and getting them into various experiences. And I think it's just such a pivotal part of the whole process. And watching the parents just be so supportive, and they're coming in for parent teacher conferences. They're again with our PTOs. I just think that it's just amazing how everybody comes together at every single level, from the students supporting each other, to our staff, to the parents, to the community, to the grandparents and aunts and uncles, and everybody just coming together to make this thing work and work really well. And then the success stories that subsequently come from that are really great. And that's something that we've been trying to share more of as we go along. And I'll get parents who will say, hey, my kid's not going to brag on himself, but he just finished up this really cool PhD program. Can you post about it? Or last year we posted about a student who we had who ended up going into the military and is now with SpaceX. And and working on rockets, and it's crazy, it's amazing, and just so cool to watch where the kids end up and just watch them thrive and be happy.
How about you, Stacey?
And I think, for me, having been in this for a little bit, the world's going to continue to change at this breakneck speed. And we're going to continue to be nimble, as our goal is to meet every student every day and help them achieve their fullest potential. So that's going to look different, and we're going to have to continue to change, to grow, to iterate, to respond to that. These new graduation requirements give us an opportunity to do that. But we're going to continue to look at what our students need to be successful beyond our walls. And we're going to continue to look at what our students need, what they want, what they desire, and how we can help them choose that pathway that they desire. So it's going to continue to shift and change, and we're going to continue to shift and change with the times. And education is going to continue to evolve. That's just part of what this is. But I think we have a track record that all of us can continue to do that, no matter which school district we're with. And we're going to continue to meet the needs of students, because we all need an educated population, and we're all committed to see the best for all of our students.
Bam. Stacey for America, I would say right there.
Well,
But it really is. It's you guys are both speaking essential values, where it's amazing what kids can achieve, but they probably need 3, 4, 8, 10, sometimes 20 different touch points to help them get there along the way. Not just mom and dad. They obviously need mom and dad, but they need all of those people around. And so do the teachers, and so does the administration, and so does the community. So thanks to both of you for sharing some great examples. I know there's millions of them, and I just want to help make sure everybody knows there's millions of them. And shout out to your teams and everybody throughout the district, and all those people that you're saying that are additionally helping for raising some incredibly great kids. I watch them in the halls. I watch them at graduation. I watch them on the sidelines, and they're good kids. They're really, really good people. They're inspiring to be around. I learn a ton from them myself. I didn't learn grammar really good as a kid, by the way, in education. So I'll confess that now. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a part of the series. Obviously, keep your great news coming about all your kids and your programs. And have a great day.